All right. So this is going to be a generic review for 7.5 to 7.7. All this right trigonometry, right triangle trigonometry, I should say. Again, before you even start, just make sure your calculator is in the correct mode, which is in degrees. Now, for you guys, since you don't, this thing resets every time. If you have changed it once to degrees, it'll be on degrees. And also on the test day, I'm just going to check if it's degrees anyway. I'll just walk up and down the hallway. This is more for people who might have to take this remote and make sure their calculator's not messed up, and then they get all the weird answers. So what I'm going to do today is just give you the general steps for everything. I'm going to show you what work is necessary. So last test, some people did not show work, and when they got it wrong, they lost all their points, and that hurt them more than it should have. Make sure you show your work. As I repeatedly say that, make sure you show your work. All right. So I broke it down to 4 steps. Your first step is identify what sides you have. For these right triangle questions, you will always have at least 2 of the 3 sides. You're always going to have at least 2 of the 3 sides. So you got to identify, is this my adjacent side, my opposite side, or my hypotenuse? And you're always going to have 2 of those. Your second part, identify what trig function you need to use. This is the code SOHCAHTOA. This will help you remember which one to use. So for example, if I had opposite and hypotenuse, I say to myself, SOHCAHTOA, so, S-O-H, O-O-H, opposite hypotenuse. So that tells me I use sine, S-I-N. If I have opposite and adjacent, I tell myself, opposite adjacent, O-A, O-A, oh, TOA. So I told TOA, that tells me tangent. Not only it tells you which ones to use, it also tells you which one's on top and which one's on bottom. It's always in the correct order. So will be sine of theta equals the opposite side over the hypotenuse side. So it gives you both the order and which one you use. Very useful. Third, after you figure out which is the correct proportion / ratio, you're going to plug in what you know. So any numbers you have, you plug in the numbers, and then you're going to figure out what variable you're missing. And you technically do different things depending on different situations, whether your angle's missing or your side is missing. I just realized this, I need a side missing. So let me just put X here. And then the last part, after you isolate your variable, you're going to plug it into your calculator and get that final answer. I'm going to be very critical here. Make sure I see the setup for step 3. I need to see the isolated variable, because God forbid if your calculator is in the wrong version, you're doing radians instead of degrees, you're going to miss a lot of points, especially if I don't see the work along the way. So definitely you're going to show me the variable aspect of it. Now down here, we have 2 types of problems. The side is missing and the angle is missing. And we're going to do both types of problems. We'll do the side is missing first. It's not dragging. Yeah, we'll do the whole problem. You'll see what I mean by isolate. So number 1, step 1 on the left. So I'll call this number 1. Identify what sides you have. Now, what sides you have is based off what angle you have or missing. In this case, I have the 50-degree angle, so I'm going to use the 50-degree angle. Over here, this is across the room. Think about it, you're in one corner of a room and you're looking across the other side. So this is your opposite. This one right here is next to your angle. Like you could touch the wall on your right. That would be your adjacent. Yes, absolutely. So I have an opposite, I have the adjacent. I have identified my signs. Now to step 2. What am I going to use? SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. Oh, TOA has opposite and adjacent, so I'm going to use tangent. So I'm going to use tangent, T-A-N. So now to plug it in, set it up, and isolate the variable. So let's do that. Let's set it up. So that is tan. The angle goes inside the tan, which is 50 degrees, equals the opposite side, which is 10, over the adjacent side, which is just x. I have set up the ratio. Now I need to isolate the variable. So make sure you isolate the variable properly. Since x is in the denominator, I need to multiply it so it goes to the top. So multiply x here, multiply x here. I can cross these out. So now I have x times tan 50 equals 10 divided by tan 50 divided by tan 50. Cross these tans out. So then I have x equals 10 over tan 50. Okay, so that's here. That, what I just boxed, I need 100% C on your test. I need to see that you were able to isolate the variable. This is going to be most of your points. If I were to break this up into points, there's 4 points. You identified the right thing. You used the right thing for what you identified. You set it up, and then you plug it in the calculator. This shows me you did 3 out of the 4 things correctly. If I don't see this and you got your answer wrong, I don't know what part you messed up, and you'll lose 3 out of 4 points. And that's a horrible way to fail your test. Don't do that. But from now, I have my setup. I type into the calculator 10 divided by tan of 50. That gives me 8.39. So I'm going to write 8.39. Box that off. I am done. I'll take any questions if you want to chat it. She'll look at Google Classroom. I think it's on the 3rd to test, but that's posted already. All right, we'll do the angles missing. I'll just take this to another page so we have space. Actually, before I move on, anyone still needs this up, please tell me before I move on to the next page. All right, let's go to the next page. Theta angle 2215. This is when the angle's missing.
Mr. Tobel,
What's up?
I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, man. So you have your theta is right here. Remember, when you identify your things, it's based off what angle is missing / have. So you need to pay attention to that. So across here, across the angle is 15. So this is opposite. Now, here, which was a mistake that I saw, and it's not uncommon. It's not the most common mistake, but it's not uncommon. You might instinctively say, hey, that's right next to me. I can touch it. So that must be adjacent. Remember, if you have the choice between adjacent and hypotenuse, hypotenuse is more important. So this one right here, 22, is going to be the hypotenuse. If it's a choice between the two, it's always hypotenuse. Okay, so I have an O and an H. SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. So I'm going to be using sine. Step 2 is identifying what you need. Step 3, plug in what you need, or plug it in. Sine, I don't know what that angle is, so I put theta equals opposite, 15, over a hypotenuse, 22. Very important. Make sure you put the fraction in correctly. If you put the fraction incorrectly, there's a chance your calculator will say error. If your calculator is saying error, you probably made a mistake. So check your work on that. All right, now to isolate the variable. This variable, theta, is being held by a sine. The only solution to a sine is the sine inverse, or sine -1, also referred to arcsine. A lot of names for it. So if I do sine -1 on the left, I have to do it on the right. And this allows me to cross out sine. So theta is going to equal sine of -1, 15 over 22. From here, you have your theta isolated, your angles isolated. And as I said, this is the most important part for your questions on your test. Then we're going to post this, type it into our calculator. All right, good question. When do I have to do sine -1? I have to do sine -1 when I'm trying to get rid of the sine from the angle variable, which is usually theta. So it's because I don't know what the number is in here, I can't type in sine of x or sine of theta. So I have to isolate it. So I have to use inverse sine. If it was tangent, use inverse tan. If it was cosine, use inverse cosine. So you literally click second. The first button you click is second, sine -1, 15 over 22. Click enter. This is going to be 42.99 degrees. So 42.99 degrees. And I just want to show you, if you have a situation like this, if you got sine -1, but you flipped your fraction in accident, so 22 divided by 15. Oh, error, and I'll say domain, which means you gave a number that is not possible in the equation. So when that happens, click enter, you'll go back to the normal screen. You have to figure out what your mistake was in your work. So if you get an error in your calculator, it's not your calculator's broken, it's your work is broken.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
On a test, would you count it wrong if we didn't write the percent? We didn't write the
The
degrees.
degree? No, I wouldn't take points off.
You
I probably would put
wouldn't count. It would still count as full credit.
yeah, I probably just put the little blue degree there, but it would be no lost points. That's so minor. Don't sweat.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? Either you want to chat it out or you want to say it out loud. Please ask me. Okay, seems like there's no questions. Reminder, I'm going to post a final homework for the, sure, I'll take care of that. Let me just make my announcement. I'm going to post a final homework for this test cycle that will be due. I'm also going to additionally post extra practice that will not be forced to do. And you'll see one will be an assignment. So that's something you should do. One will be a status update. That's just extra practice if you want. Now, if you want to go and you don't have a question, you're free to go. If you want to stay, I'm going to go over using the calculator again because somebody asked. So otherwise, have a wonderful day. Type here if you're going to go. And then
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem.